Build rapport over multiple approaches. This is a strategy in Indirect Daygame that I recommend that a lot of you guys should try out. People do talk about working girls as in girls that are working in cafes or restaurants or customer service, and you're interested in them, and a lot of guys say just avoid them altogether because they're only being friendly to you because they're working, which does make perfect sense. But there are ways that you can build up rapport with girls that are working and break out of the customer uh, to working person or service provider role, and turn that into more of a relationship sort of a role. And I'm gonna explain that in a little bit more depth and give you guys a scenario right now. But before we kick it off, I'm Dave, and this channel is dedicated to giving you no BS novel dating advice for the modern man. Top link in the description to go check out my website and sign up to do some cold approach coaching with myself. So, guys do talk about. I have heard it many times in the past. Coaches talking about working girls, hired guns they call them as well. Girls that are just they're working, so they're friendly to you, and because some of their students probably don't have a high level of social awareness, so what they do is they just tell all their students not to bother trying to pick up or date or try to build any sort of rapport with girls that are working, because it's their job to be friendly to you, and if you misread or you don't have the ability to read those social cues, you might just be bothering someone that's working, and it's their job to be friendly to you. So let me give you guys a little bit of I'll give you two scenarios, but this is a version of Indirect Daygame that does work. One scenario is a student of mine. You know, businessman working. Wears a suit, looks great all the time. Hits the city, well groomed. One of those high flying sort of businessmen, right? And I took him out and taught him Indirect Daygame. Because someone that is working has to be very in a corporate environment, has to be very careful about being me too'd, and so he has the social awareness, and therefore is capable of learning Indirect Daygame, and that's what I taught him. And this is one thing that worked for him, was returning to the same place that he would have lunch at every day, and building up rapport every day with the cafe owner. Now, this does take a level of social awareness to make sure that you're not bothering the girl that's working there. You don't want to be bothering people who are working. You don't want to be reading into signs that they're giving you that could be a bit confusing. If she's being friendly, it doesn't mean that she's interested in you. Obviously, that's something that some guys might get confused with, but if you are socially aware enough, you should be able to identify the differences between a girl that's just being friendly to you, a girl that over time you've built up rapport and she's starting to see you as more of a friend than just a customer. And when you get to the point where, if you're socially aware enough, that is, and you're able to empathize with her position, her situation, and you're able to notice that you're building real rapport, then go in and go for the date, go for the number. And this can happen over time. Now, there are a lot of girls out there that will be working in cafes, and they'll have the same guys turning up trying this all the time, and they're friendly to all of them, and they know the game. So this does take a level of social awareness, and there's a little bit of method to the madness. I teach my clients this when I take them out. There's only so much that I can explain in a short little video on YouTube, but my student, he ended up going back to the same cafe time after time after time and building up rapport with the girl that worked there. And they ended up dating, and they've been together ever since. It got quite serious, and it turns out she was a virgin and never really dated anyone before. And so this is a girl that this is a guy that converted himself by using Indirect Daygame from a customer into a relationship with the girl that he would return to over and over again. And it does work. It does work. And the strategy is to continuously turn up and hit certain points. So there's certain points that you need to hit. You need to hit certain tiers, certain goals over time, every time you go back to meet the girl that is working there, to try and turn yourself from a customer into a relationship. Now, another scenario I'd like to tell you guys about is there was a point there where I was a plumbing apprentice, and every lunchtime I was about 18 years old at this stage. They would grab a piece of wood sometimes, or they would get a bit of gyprock out of the wall, and they would write the lunch orders down, and I would go down and I'll take the cash and I would go and buy a whole bunch of lunches for all of the plumbers. I was working in construction too. And I would go down and I'd go to the bakery, I'd go to the chicken shop, I'd go to the cafe, and I'd buy a whole bunch of different types of foods in different shops every lunchtime, and it also would depend on what area I was in. Over time, I would build rapport with the girls that are around my age, the girls that are under 21, when I was about 18, 19, 20. And I found myself dating and sleeping with many girls by refining this strategy of turning up, being friendly with the same girls, having a little bit of a chat. I was ordering a lot of food as well. This does work. So for you guys, if you're just going to watch this video and you're not going to get coaching with me, the simplistic way that I can explain it to you is that don't go in there and then just try to make it all happen the very first time you go in there. She's not going to know you. She's not going to recognize you. I recommend maybe once a week, or you could go there once every day, and then try it at the end of the week. Build rapport over many different times you go to that cafe or shop or bakery or wherever she's working, and make sure you build up enough rapport before you ask her out on a date. That's probably the simplistic way to explain this. Obviously, if you come out and do some coaching with me, I go in far more depth on more serious strategies on how to make this a more reliable thing. But for you guys that are just watching at home, just build rapport over a multitude of different approaches, and make sure you build enough rapport before you go in there and ask her for a date. So if you like this video, it makes sense to you, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to come out and do some cold approach with me, you want to do some day game, do some training, get out there in the field, meet some girls, and go to the top link in the description and sign up to do some coaching with me. I'll see you guys next.